Hello, I am Matthew Rosada, and this is Mr. Frederick Herman. He is the founder and president of Freewingmedia. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Freewingmedia?
Freewingmedia is, our mission is to bring the gospel to the world, but our focus is really Japan, and Asia. Our focus is really Asia, and so what we want to do is we want to create media, mostly film, maybe some PDF books, and anything else the Lord brings your way, and we want to bring it to Japan. We want to bring it towards Asia. Our passion and our calling is to Asia, and we want to fulfill that calling.
Wow.
We're just really, we're a baby band, so to speak. We're just getting started. We're learning as we go. We realize that. We know we're a baby band. We know we have tons of stuff to learn, but, we're not going to stagnate. We're going to, whatever tools and gifts that we have now, we're going to use them, and we're going to learn as we go. And we hope and pray that we'll produce some good stuff that will touch the people in Asia and touch the people in Japan.
Wow, that's great. So how did you get started with Freewingmedia?
We got started at Makua Lani Christian School. When it was still Makua Lani Christian School, we made a film called The Creation Project. And it's a 38-minute film. And after we produced the film, we needed a way to distribute it. And so Freewingmedia was really started just as a distribution branch. Originally it was just about the distribution of the film and for no other reason. But as time went on, and as we just wanted to do more stuff, but then we actually started doing other shorter productions first. But our first film was The Creation Project, and that was myself, Noah Reed, Bronson, Kossoff, the three of us. And we had a lot of help with this film because so many people got involved, and they were all different, Lutherans, Catholics, evangelicals, young earth creationists, old earth creationists. We even had a Darwinist helping us on the film, a Christian Darwinist, and I know that sounds contradictory to some people. But we had open doors, and we wanted to skip the infighting about young earth versus old earth. We wanted to skip any doctrinal infighting. We just wanted to show this is what the Bible says, this is what the science says. It actually does fit together, which is something that most people don't know. Most people in the world don't know it. Most Christians don't know it, and primarily because they don't understand solar nebular theory. When you learn solar nebular theory, then you understand why light came first and the stars appear second. And if you don't know solar nebular theory, that's not going to make any sense to you, and you're going to say, well, the Bible doesn't make sense. You actually need the science to see that the Bible is scientific. And it can't be, we're talking about a book that's, writings that are 4,000 years old. You have to look at that and say, there's no way they could have known. And yet they did know. Mm-hmm. And you can look at the astronomical progression, you can look at the geological progression, you can look at the progression through life, from birds and fish to mammals to man, and the progression lines up with any science that you look at independently. The progression lines up. It's a stage theory, but it lines up with the science. So it was a lot of fun to make, and I've got a few clips that we could look at.
Definitely, that sounds fascinating.
Okay, the first clip is day 2. This is day 2 with the narration started by Bronson Kossoff. Let's watch.
Then God said, "Let there be an expanse in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters." God made the expanse, and separated the waters which were below the expanse from the waters which were above the expanse, and it was so. God called the expanse heaven, and there was evening, and there was morning, a second day.
As radiation reaches the waters of the earth, evaporation occurs and the earth is covered in a layer of clouds.
When was life created? Was life created at the hydrothermal vents in the dark depths of the ocean as God's Spirit moved over the surface of the waters? Did photosynthesis develop when God said, "Let there be light"? Did more advanced forms of life develop At this day of creation, when the sunlight warmed the surface of the ocean, the creation of life, whenever, however it developed, can be nothing short of a miracle.
An honest man, armed with all the knowledge available to us now, could only state that in some sense the origin of life appears at the moment to be almost a miracle. So many are the conditions which would have had to have been satisfied to get it going. Francis Crick, co-discoverer of DNA. The most complex machine man has devised, say an electronic brain, is child's play compared with the simplest of living organisms. The especially trying thing is the complexity here involves such small dimensions. It is on the molecular level. It consists of detailed fitting of molecule to molecule, such as no chemist can attempt. George Wald. We now know that the secret of life lies not with the chemical ingredients as such, but with the logical structure and organizational arrangement of the molecules. Like a supercomputer, life is an informational processing system. It is the software of the living cell that is a real mystery, not the hardware. How did stupid atoms spontaneously write their own software? Nobody knows. Paul Davies, Institute for Quantum Studies.
The cell is an incredible wonder, a microscopic automated assembly plant with artificial language, memory banks, decoding machines, proofreading machines, control systems. Even the cell membrane itself has recognition sites for molecules and ions to pass through, and lipid layers with embedded protein complexes in the surface. A microscopic wonder.
Wow, that was fascinating. But I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get that last clip?
Yeah, that last clip is actually, I believe it was a 4K clip, so it's super high resolution. And we actually got it for, I'm not kidding, $10.
Wow.
We bought it from someone in Russia, right? In America, that clip would have cost us probably thousands of dollars, but fortunately, there was someone in Russia who was selling it for $10, so we were able to get the clip from there.
That's amazing.
Next clip I like to show, if that's okay,
Definitely.
is day 5. Because day 5 we also had fun putting together a musical segue about animal life and some of the unique structures that happen in animal life. And we did these segues to give the audience a break from all the information. Let them give them a break, let them sit back and process what they've heard, and just get this fun musical ride, through the insides of animal tissue. If that's what's fun.
That sounds cool. Well, let's see it.
Then God said, "Let the waters teem with swarms of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth in the open expanse of the heavens." God created the great sea monsters and every living creature that moves, with which the waters swarmed after their kind, and every winged bird after its kind. And God saw that it was good. God blessed them, saying, Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters and the seas, and let birds multiply on the earth. There was evening, and there was morning, a fifth day.
From myriads of microscopic marine phytoplankton to towering terrestrial forest giants, plants have produced oxygen necessary for animal life. Now they are the bases of all marine and terrestrial food chains.
From giant sea creatures and swarming fish to birds flying in the air, this day of creation is teeming with multifarious forms of life. Besides their grace and beauty, birds play an important role in the transforming of the Earth's ecosystem, both by dispersing seeds and pollinating flowers.
Animal life represents significant differences from plant life. Like plants, animals have vascular systems and respiratory systems, but animals also have immune systems, nervous systems, and consciousness.
Wow, that was fascinating. So I've heard you've had a lot of doctors help you along with this project.
Yeah, we had several PhDs help us. One was Dr. Shagnal, who was a PhD at Wheaton University. He has a PhD in microbiology. Incredibly brilliant man. He was featured on a PBS documentary.
Wow.
Then we also have Dr. Andrew West, the marine biologist. He approved all our work. And he is famous for having, I think, 1 or 2 different shows on the Discovery Channel.
Wow, that's pretty good.
But now, in terms of interviews, we interviewed another a physician, a medical doctor, Dr. Che, Dr. Anpak Che, and he is a physician here in Kona, and he was just a really great help. And it's funny because when all the interviews were watched, we interviewed an Orthodox priest, a physician, an astronomer, and the one that always gets the most laughs, or at least feedback, is Dr. Che's interview.
Wow, that's great. So how about we watch that clip right now of Dr. Che?
All right.
Then God said, Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the sky, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. How are human beings made in the image of God? On days 5 and 6, God created the nephesh, the Hebrew word signifying a soul, mind, or even emotion, creatures with consciousness.
But mankind is more than just a conscious creature. Man has the ability to create, to use abstract thinking, to produce complex language, and to make moral judgments.
As a physician, I have studied medicine more than 30 years with human body, anatomy, and physiology. When I look at the human body, organs and their functions, I'm amazed at its complexity. It is well designed, working together wondrously well, and interact with each other so amazingly well. Look at my finger. In a second, it obeys exactly as my brain orders. The more I see the brain's functions, I'm amazed at its super complexity and super functions, which are beyond my understanding. Look at my smile. This is not learned skill, but inherited. All the babies cry at birth also smile from the beginning of their life on earth. There is saying in the Bible, "For you created my inmost being, you knit me in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made." I cannot help but admitting that there must be a super intelligent being who could design and create human body, which is the most complicated organisms in the universe. I cannot help but saying, how great are the Creator's works, how deep are the Creator's designs. Once again in the Bible, "For you created my inmost being, you knit me in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful."
Oh, that was great. So, how have you been distributing this film lately?
Well, gotta be honest, it's really minimal. You know, we're on the bottom of the search engine list. No one knows we exist. And, you know, if you're bottom of the Google list, you're bottom of the YouTube list because it's the same machine, you know? So it's really hard to get it out at one time. And don't get me wrong, you know, when you don't get it out, there's this assumption that, well, the quality isn't good. And let me say this, it's not 100% polished professional level, but I would say the level is very good, and I would say that the content is really good. One of the people that watched it is a postdoctoral in chemistry. I recommended that she's one of my LinkedIn, I know her from LinkedIn, and I recommended to her, I said, hey, watch this movie. She watched it and she said it was the first time in her life she ever saw how science matched with the Bible. She never believed it matched until she saw our movie, and she's a postdoc in chemistry, right? So the quality is good, but getting it out has been tough. You know how the search engines work. I mean, and unless you put down dime to produce it, you're really not going to get it out there. I did make a 30-second promo to kind of help get it out, and I think it may have brought in a few views.
Well, that's super. Can we take a look at that now?
Sure. Yeah, so while I was making the promo, I thought to myself, this is easy. I'm just taking clips from Days of Creation. And the idea hit me. See, here's the thing. Most people that watch YouTube don't watch 40-minute. You know, statistically speaking, people only invest 2.5 to 5 minutes into a YouTube video,
That's
right?
understandable, yeah.
I do the same thing, you know? And so I thought, well, can I make a shorter version that maybe some more people would watch? And so I thought, well, I'll just do what I did with the promo. I'll just take clips, put them together, and we'll do a short version without all the narration. It won't go as deep into the science, but it'll just show it. And it was kind of a good idea. We wanted to include the gospel in this one more clearly than in the last one. And as it turned out, I actually brought in a whole bunch of new material. And I would say maybe 50% of it's new material.
Wow. It's like creating a whole new show. So can we take a look at this?
All right, let's take a look at, by the way, let me point out that we did this in Japanese.
Oh wow, is there an English version also?
There's an English version. The Sensei Green from Makua Lani Christian Academy did the voiceovers in Japanese.
Oh, that's great. Let's take a look.
"はじめに神が天と地を創造した。地は形がなく何もなかった。神の霊は水の上を動いていた。その時、神が光よあれと仰せられた。神は大空を作り、大空の下にある水と大空の上にある水とを区別された。神は天の下の水をひとところに集め、乾いた土地が現れた。そして神が仰せられると、地は食物を生じた。神は太陽、月、そして星を作り、大空に置き、地上を照らさせた。神は水に生き物の群れ、地の上、大空に翼のある鳥を創造された。神は家畜、這うもの、そして野の獣を作られた。そして神は人をご自身の形に創造された。そして神は休まれた。
Wow, that was great. Especially learn something in another language. So what have you and other people at Freewingmedia have been accomplishing lately?
Well, right now I'm working on a video for the Pregnancy Center that's going to be shown at their November 2015 Gala, which is their event, I believe it's at the Sheraton Hotel. And this is just a nice piece of, it's a nice piece of video. I use After Effects to create a really nice montage. And then we're going to show some interview of Dr. Beth Catanzaro. She's the medical director at the Pregnancy Center. And afterwards, I'll probably throw the logo on. So it's just a nice piece where she gets to speak to the crowd and say, as a professional medical person, this is my view of the pregnancy center and why it's so important to the community. This is not the first thing we've done for the pregnancy center. We've been doing videos for the pregnancy for the last year. I don't know. It's been over a year, maybe.
Sure.
It's been a year and a half, 2 years.
Definitely.
We've done some shorter promos for their events, mostly event promos. We do their event promos, we put them online, and then they either burn them to disc and mail them to churches, or they'll take the hyperlink and put it online. But the one we're working on now is a little bit different because it's actually an interview, which we haven't done before. And I want to throw props out to Naleo, Hawaii, because they let us use their equipment to film this stuff. Freewingmedia, we're not a nonprofit corporation. We're an UNA, we're an unincorporated nonprofit association. So we're not, we don't have a lot of our own stuff. Everything is volunteer. And so we do what we can. And so thanks to Naleo, Hawaii, and their equipment, we were able to get this interview.
Oh, that's great. So can we take a look at that right now?
Let's watch some segments.
That's great.
As a family doctor, one of my favorite visits is to be able to confirm pregnancy for a young lady. And oftentimes it's the most exciting thing, and it's a chance to teach them a little bit about how to have a healthy pregnancy, all the different do's and don'ts that go along with that. I'm very blessed to be able to refer them here to the pregnancy center. Here they get some good one-on-one counseling, get to ask all their questions, and receive a lot of good advice, as well as medical advice, reminding them to take their prenatal vitamins, more of those do's and don'ts, good counseling. And I know that here they have well-trained counselors, and they get good advice that I can trust as a family physician. Unfortunately, some of my young moms are not so happy with the news that they're pregnant. And when they come in, they're terrified and can't even think of what to do next. I can at least give them the phone number for the pregnancy center and just stress to them that they do not have to rush, that they have the time to come in, they have the time to think about this decision. So when they come in here, I can trust that they're getting really good advice and really good counseling by loving people who pray for them and can support them through these hurdles that they perceive. Even baby showers, helping them find a place to live, and just continuing to love on them and counsel them through it.
So as you can see, that's some of the work that we do here at Makua Lani Christian Academy, and some other stuff you could be helping Mr. Frederick Herman with at Freewingmedia.
Yeah, we're always looking for help. We're looking for volunteers. We could use a graphic artist, and just anyone who is interested in media. If you feel called to media, if you feel called to Asia, those are two things that we're looking at. It doesn't have to be Japan. It could be any Asian country. If you feel called to help us, give us a call, because we'd be glad to have the help. We'd be glad to. I don't know how to say it. I mean, yeah.
Any help is a blessing.
It's an open door.
Definitely. Well, thank you, Mr. Frederick Herman, for this wonderful interview. I'm glad we could shed more light upon Freewingmedia and some of the work you do as a teacher here at Makua Lani Christian Academy.